The keys is just to learn to encourage yourself in the Lord.
I love that.
How would somebody do that? Help us, walk us through that.
Well, for me, I preach to myself sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got to learn to preach to yourself. I say 3 things to myself when I'm in my most discouraging moments.
Okay.
Number 1, I remind myself Jesus is with me.
Okay.
And He has all power. He's with me right now on this set. He's with me this very moment in your house, in that room, in your apartment. Jesus is with me. Sometimes I'll look in the mirror when I'm feeling the weight of a sermon I'm about to preach or some pressure situation. And I'll remind, I have to preach to a lot of people, but I've learned to preach to myself.
There you go.
And what I say is 3 things. Number 1, I say, Jesus is with me and He has all power. Number 2, in Deuteronomy 33, when Moses was giving his final, it was a beautiful moment, his final farewell sermon to the children of Israel. They're about to cross over, and he's not going to get to go with them. He's going to stay at Mount Nebo. And he gives this beautiful sermon. And he says, our God is a God of the mountains. And he starts naming the mountains and the peaks where God did this, and where Abraham on a mountain offered, and how offered Isaac, and how the 10 Commandments were given on a mountain. He starts naming all the blessings. He says He rides the high places. He's bragging, the God of the mountains. And then it's almost like in the middle, if you read it, right in the middle, it's like He does a shift, and He says, I've got to remind people, because I don't want them to think that if they are walking with God, it'll always be a mountaintop. Then He throws this verse in there. Our God, the eternal refuge, is our God. And then it says these words, and underneath us are the everlasting arms. Underneath is a word, taka, in Hebrew, which means at the bottom. So here's the thing I preach when I look in the mirror. I preach, number 1, Jesus is with you, Jentezen. Jesus is with you. I don't care what you're facing. Jesus is with you. And number 2, God is at the bottom. Underneath me, I don't care how far I go down. If I'll look around down there somewhere at rock bottom, you may have hit as low, you may have gone as deep into despair and depression as you can go. But once you hit, the Bible said, underneath, as low as you can go, underneath my family, underneath my marriage, underneath my children, underneath my ministry, underneath my future, when it seems like it's at the lowest point, underneath it all are the everlasting arms of God.
Thank you, Lord.
So I preach to myself, Jentezen, Jesus is with you. Jentezen, God is at the bottom. Somebody needs to hear that.
Yeah.
God is at the bottom. He's not just Lord of the mountains. He's not just God of the mountains. He's Lord of the valley. He even told one people He was going to give them victory because his enemy said their God is just the God of the mountains. But He said, I'm the God of the valleys, and I want you to go fight them in that valley, and I'm going to show them that I can give miracles in valleys. And then the last thing that I tell myself, preach to myself, is Romans says, I think it's the 12th chapter, that says God has given to every man the measure of faith. The measure. In other words, anything you face in life, God has given you enough faith to overcome that situation. And so I say to myself, I preach to myself, Jesus is with me, God is at the bottom, and here's a big one, I have faith for this. I have faith for this. He gave me the measure of faith. You got a bad doctor's report, cancer, whatever, I have faith for this. Talk to it. Talk to it. Preach back at it. I have faith for this. Got a financial challenge? I have faith for this. In crazy times, precarious times as a nation and as business people, but I have faith for this. Faith is important.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus, can I keep going a minute? I feel this.
Come on.
Do you know why faith is important? Think about this. Jesus said to Peter, you are being singled out by Satan himself. He's going to sift you. He's coming after you. And he didn't say, notice what Jesus said to him, and I have prayed for you. Mm-hmm. And what did he pray? What did he pray? Did he pray his finances would be at an all-time high? Did he pray that he would have smooth sailing and no problems and a wonderful, beautiful life, pressure-free? No. He prayed one prayer. He said, I prayed that your faith fail not. Because if I lose the house, if I lose the job, if I lose this and that and the other, and I still have faith, I will recover. I will recover. And the other thing is it just takes a little bit of faith. The size of a mustard seed. You know why? Do you know why David went out and he had 5 rocks instead of 1? He was only fighting 1 giant. Why did he take 5?
I don't know.
In case he missed. And sometimes the real thing the Lord spoke to me about that was, I never send you into a battle without more than enough.
Wow.
I'll never send you with just enough to meet that need. But when I send you, when you're going in my name, where I tell you to go and facing the giant that I call you to face, then you can know that you already have more than enough. What is it? What have I got more than enough? Faith. So I preach, Jesus is with me. God is at the bottom. I remind myself, God is at the bottom. And then I say, I have faith for this.
Beautiful.
I have faith for these times. You do too. You do too, for every crisis that you're facing, for every situation that you're dealing with in your home, in your family, in your life. We have faith for this.
Pray for the folks that are just...
Jesus, I feel your presence right now, and I do lean on that. I do look to you. And so many people right now could say what Jehoshaphat said, that we have no might against this enemy. We have no might, but our eyes are upon you. And Lord, I just pray right now that you would release your power into every home watching this. Bring encouragement. Somebody needs to encourage themselves in the Lord this very day. He's speaking to you and He's telling you, I'm with you. He's telling you that I'm at the bottom. I know you've had some setbacks, but God is at the bottom. And you have faith for this. And you're going to overcome. You're going to recover it all and spoils besides. That's not just positive, wishful thinking. That's the word of the Lord for such a time as this. And it's time to stir that faith up. And if you need prayer, go to the phone, dial the number that's on the screen. There's power in many people praying for you. And Lord, I just agree right now, if there's a backslider, if there's somebody watching right now that needs help with an addiction, needs deliverance, needs to see a son or a daughter saved, oh God, if somebody's searching, flipping the channels, may they turn to you, may they know you're real. And I would just say to you, even if you aren't convinced about all this Jesus stuff, just say, Jesus, if you're real, show me who you are. The moment you do, He'll begin a series of miracles in your life, and your eyes will be open to who Jesus is in 2020, right in the middle of a pandemic.